Welcome to another episode of The Brand Called You, a podcast and podcast show that brings you leadership lessons, knowledge, experience, and wisdom from thousands of successful individuals from around the world. I am your host, Ashutosh Garg, and today I'm delighted to welcome an incredibly multifaceted individual from Hyderabad, India, Mr. Murali Talasila. Murli, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, sir. It's a great privilege.
Thank you. Murli is the Chief Technology Officer of GroundGame Health. He's the CTO of Jagriti. He's a Chief Mentor at CIE, and he's from IIT Hyderabad. He's an ex-partner innovation and startup ecosystems. He has worked with PricewaterhouseCoopers, KPMG, and others. He's a movie actor, and we're going to speak about his avatar as a movie actor. He's an angel investor, and he sits on several boards. So, Murli, before we get into startups, tell me a little bit about your own amazing journey.
I did my undergrad in mechanical engineering or bachelor's in mechanical engineering. Helped my father set up undergrad college and fiddled with computers, then ran away from my home, very close to ITC Bhadrachalam. It's a small town called Palvancha, to Chennai, and joined movie industry as a special effects artist.
Wow.
I did actually work for the movie Jeans, doing blue screening. I was watching Aishwarya Rai on the screen for 3 months. But I realized soon it's a very good hobby and a very bad job. 5,437 rupees was not good enough. And then I switched back to my original love, technology and networking. And I got body shop to Netherlands in 1997. That was the trend in those days because lack of IT professionals in that part of the world. I landed in Netherlands, and the company I started working for goes bankrupt in 1 week for whatever reason. So I have to fend for myself. Made my CV in a country where they don't speak English so fluently, still better than most other European countries. I landed some 7 or 8 interviews in 1 week, and I got all of them from IBM to Microsoft to Dutch Telecom, KPN. I chose to join Dutch Telecom as an internet security specialist. And that's how my journey started into cybersecurity forensics. And I moved back to India after working at Deloitte and other companies in Netherlands in 2007. And I did some of the largest investigations, which probably hit every year in the country. Took over the role of innovation startups lead. That role did not exist in PwC before, probably anywhere in the world. In PwC around 2017. And that's how my interest in startups was ignited. I set up a brand new team, moved out of PwC offices in spite of being a partner in PwC. And my team used to sit out of India's largest incubator, T-Hub in Hyderabad, rub our shoulders with startups. And I left PwC last year because of my love for startups and technology. I thought one should pursue their dream. And here I am.
Wonderful. So let's talk a little bit about startups. What is the kind of support you give to startups?
My specialty comes from a techno-commercial angle, and both for early stage and late stage. In early stage, I can easily see and tell them what scale issues they would face because of the business model they have, or because of the tech stack they're using, or they don't even understand the problem they are solving, which is very, very prominent in this part of the world. You imagine a solution because your friends or family are facing that issue. You have not tested that is a real problem to be solved for a commercial gain or not. That's one way of, in scale stage, generally B2B, where enterprises are a different cup of tea altogether. And the barriers of entry going through procurement, you would remember from your ITC days, it's quite a few hoops you have to cross before you get your purchase order. So understanding that bureaucracy which comes in the way, and also designing a solution which fits, let's say, CIOs or CTOs buying habits.
Mhm.
These are all the things I generally dwell upon.
Mm.
I stay away from fundraising and those kind of things. There are enough people who are very good at it.
Very interesting. And based on all your experience, what are some of the most important qualities a startup entrepreneur needs to have?
Very good, very interesting question. First thing is, please don't try to put your legs on two boats.
Mm.
So if you are serious, take the risk, jump onto it with your heart, really genuinely in it. Or please, maybe you think you have other commitments, you're half-hearted, don't do it. Just don't do it. So because this thing takes all of your 100% commitment and more, and
Correct.
please don't do it as a hobby. Your
Correct.
startup will never be successful, especially if it is your first or second,
Yeah.
where you still don't have any pedigree, so as to say. So commitment for 100% of the time is the most important thing. Then understanding that one human being cannot have all the skills needed. So we funnily say in startup ecosystem, it takes a village to make a startup successful. The same ethos applies to a startup founder also. Having the will to share and recognizing that he may not have the tech skill or he may not have the finance skill, and bringing a co-founder on board is the best thing one can do to accelerate growth. Last but not least, please don't get carried away by jargon and place ML, AI, blockchain in your pitch decks without even understanding and getting enough data to defend it.
Well said.
More often than not, 8 out of the 10 investors I see, if they see these items without actually explaining the problem you're trying to solve and the margin you're trying to make, they actually will disregard you. They will not even go look for the remaining part of the deck. Please don't do that. These are the 3 things I can do.
Fascinating. And since you mentioned that you work out of T-Hub, you must be meeting a lot of startup entrepreneurs. Once they've started working and the startup is going, there is generally a view that 1 in 10 startups make it. What are some of the basic mistakes a lot of startup entrepreneurs make?
It may be a little bit of repetition for the 3 points I told you, but I'll still probably try and give another color. First point is the statistic per se, absolute statistic is right. 1 to 1.8 is probably Indian average, somewhere there. The startup as an entity may not make it, but the entrepreneur makes it 100% of the times. It's just a stepping stone.
Correct.
More often than not, I've seen that individual who started the journey may take a break, go back to some sort of employment, or totally dump the idea. I come back with a pivot onto something else. But the struggle of entrepreneur, the gist of building something from ground up, that doesn't die. For me, that is very important. Looking both from my Jagriti's Middle India hat, where entrepreneurship is the only way India can sustain, and also the intelligentsia we have in terms of the new generation in India, the ability for us to grasp math and logic and solve for the world. For both sides of the coin, it's very important to have that spirit. And second thing would be infatuation. It's funny. I'm sorry if I have to use the term infatuation with the first girlfriend or first boyfriend, based on your gender, is not easy to get away from. And the same would very analogously apply into the startup world. ये मेरा idea है, इसको तो सही होना चाहिए. When you distance yourself from that infatuation and bring a sense of logic and reality and some sort of commerciality to it, then you will have the bravado to stop with the specific idea and move on to the next one. So everybody speaks about failing fast and doing it. This is what failing fast. You test an idea without burning $1 million and move on to the next one by probably not even building something. Just check the hypothesis using the potential customers, and you go back with the feedback you got from the real people and rejig your idea. That's how the process should work. Can't be a bull in China shop going in one direction.
Well said. Thank you for a great response. The other question, Murli, that is there with a lot of startup entrepreneurs is, when should they think of raising money? Should they bootstrap as long as possible, or should they take the money whenever it's available?
I think the answer would vary given that the powder has dried up in the last 8 to 12 months quite a bit. But the principles or the fundamentals of funding corporate finance would not change. Pardon me for speaking like a little bit of Big Four person. Funding and cash is always cheap. Equity is expensive. So from your perspective, we should dilute as late as possible. That is the basic principle. Having said that basic principle, if you have friends and family or your own means to bootstrap and show revenue, the respect you gain when you start your pitch is in a different league. Irrespective, raising next round of funds once you show revenue will put you in the position of bargain, not at the whims and fancies of an investor, because your runway is very short, you're burning very fast, and then they will demand much more. These are very simple, arithmetic, human psyche related things. So, and the last principle everybody should remember, especially after what we got hit because of the supposed recession, please remember, startup in essence is a business, hopefully with lots of IP, either in business model or in technology or in patents. If you forget the fact that you're a business, that's when every round becomes very haunting for you and you have sleepless nights. So my request is run it like a business and you'll be a rock star all the time.
Wonderful. So one more question on startups, and then we'll move to your other passion, which is movies. It has often been asked by many startup entrepreneurs on when should they scale up. People are always talking, we've got to be pan-India. Now they're talking of global. And yet I tell people, whether it's a Hyderabad or whether it's a New Delhi, you've got 15, 20 million people in just one city or one region. What are your thoughts?
For me, it's based on the product, service, and solution. Some products are best tested in India and scaled abroad. And some of them probably don't even have a market to test here at all. So while I appreciate the comment you made that even a small city in India is as good as many countries out there in Western Europe or somewhere else, but the fine print is the demography right for you to scale?
Correct.
The startup I work for, GroundGame Health, it's a social determinants of health space. It doesn't have a use case in India at all. So we're not even thinking in the near future to establish anything in India. In spite of us having a large team in Hyderabad and me sitting here, we don't have India in our world. So one should accept the realities. When should you scale? Scale as soon as you you can, and if the moolah in the bank supports it. And demography you need to scale should provide you that escape velocity. So that should be very, very obvious. If half of your mentors can easily scan the demography and tell, it should not be rocket science.
Interesting. So Murali, let's now talk about movies. You mentioned that you started life, when you moved into south into Chennai, and now you're also a movie actor. Tell me, what kind of films are you doing? And then I'll ask you a few more questions.
As they say in a cliched way in movies, I'm a struggling actor.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope I remain one, because it keeps me on my toes. I was behind the cameras with special effects and everything in the early parts of my career, and I left it there for reasons I already mentioned. But in my Netherlands stint, I already worked in a dramatized documentary, so I have to say that itch was always there in me. And correlating back to 25 odd years of consulting, Ashutosh, my belief is consulting is a process of gathering facts and weaving a dream on the basis of it, and helping the customer or client realize the dream. So a large part of it is also imagination and creativity. People may not look at it that way, but always looked at it that way. So given imagination, creativity is very inherently involved in there, it's not too far away from acting.
Amazing. Wonderful. And you know what I've been noticing, there's been a lot of stress on the in the movie industry, if I can use that term, because of the OTT invasion of our lives. And of course, many people blame the pandemic for this, but I think from a consumer perspective, it's the convenience of being able to watch something in your own home.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on what is OTT doing to the industry?
OTT did something which is to some extent democratized the production process, brought the opportunities to indie movie makers, and probably in startup world we talk about TAM. The total addressable market has exploded. Maybe you can give benefit of doubt to pandemic. That's okay. Whoever is responsible for it. So, and in that process, so many new artists, storytellers, technicians have picked up the art. So net, irrespective of what an individual feels, an increase in TAM is good for any industry from an absolute perspective.
Right.
So that's how I look as an independent person, even though I'm a consumer and I'm also inherently part of the industry. But there is nothing negative about it whatsoever.
The other question that I've often wanted to ask is that how is technology changing the movie business, with digitization, short formats, multiple, screens available?
It's a very interesting question. So from the time you start writing your script, you have software now to author your scripts and tag it, put camera angles, lighting from script stage itself, which is from Hollywood to Indian movie industry, everybody uses, depending on the director to director. So from that place to the exhibition of movies, there is nothing called really a box and a box office at this moment, right?
Correct.
So all movies are digitally streamed. So you probably know most of the cinemas in the metropolis are wired by a fiber.
Okay.
They're not getting a DVD or a box to the movie theater from a long time now.
Oh, really? Okay. None of those big reels going any longer.
No, it's gone long time back. It's based on fiber. So the distributor really knows how many times you have screened the movie by sitting in the comfort of his office. So you probably heard the name UFO and few other. There are digital distributors of movies. And if you look in between, everybody uses now 4K, 8K cameras. And if RRR was able to win a Golden Globe and God bless them with an Oscar, or a PS1 Mandatnam is able to do, this is all, some credit goes to the gaming industry in India, the electronic gaming industry, and the special effects, the character animation, all those skills we built in the last 2 decades odd in India. These are the primary drivers for the special effects industry, because the skills are common to both places. So it is pervasive, and my belief is the quality on the celluloid can match angle to angle of a James Cameron movie or a Rajmouli's movie. There is no dearth of skill or talent at this given moment. We have to pick up a script and we have to produce it. We are up there with everybody else. Now it's not a day, oh, mere paas wo camera nahi hai, mere paas ye technology nahi hai. You can't give those excuses anymore.
Also, I think because of OTTs, the entire film acting or the actors have also got much bigger opportunities, because suddenly you've got a whole range of young people who've got so many different opportunities.
So when I said the TAM is increased, if you see that as a horizontal expansion, so it has a vertical or in-depth dimension also. That's what you're referring to.
Correct.
So there are so many non-stereotypical actors who probably were left out because they would not be good in a song, dance, fight sequence. All those people are getting exposed because the superb theater actors who can portray those emotions. All those actors are getting to see the limelight and make a career instead of rotting in some small job. I'm really thankful from that perspective to the OTT industry.
Very interesting. So I have time for only one more question. And Murli, this is for the many people who will listen to our conversation. Based on your own amazing journey, and you seem to have done it all, if I can say, and you continue to be CTO of two large organizations. You're an investor, you sit on several boards. Based on your own life journey, and not from a startup perspective, what would you say are 3 lessons you want our viewers and listeners to take back?
First thing, and the most important thing is, never get casted into a template. Human beings are very malleable. You want to become something, you just need to drive yourself in that direction. You can become anybody you want.
Correct.
And I can't show a better example than myself, from moving one place to other, one faculty to other, doing everything. Please don't get yourself typecast and say, I can't do that. There is nothing like that. I can't do that. For a human being, you just need to know what is the origin, what is the destination. For some people it'll take 5 years, some people it'll take 5 months. That's the only difference. You will get there. That's the first thing.
Wonderful. Yeah.
Second thing is, learn and be curious. There is no knowledge which goes waste ever if you acquire it.
Yeah.
I was recently visiting a Middle Eastern country to advise a drone startup. I had some interest in spectrography and satellites, and I did some studies from 15-20 years back. I was able to hold my conversation and impress the client just because I spent time on that. And probably people would have thought, this guy is crazy, he just reads up everything which comes your way.
Yeah.
I was just curious on how this thing happens, and it comes to your rescue at very unexpected situations. Please do so. Last but not least, please be happy. Learn to be happy with what you have. Be at peace. Everything will happen in time. Just be at peace.
Amazing. And on that note, Murli, and your 3 amazing lessons or learnings: never get cast into a template. Second is, learn to be curious. And third one, which is so powerful, be happy with what you have. And I'll also repeat the 3 points that you made for startups. Commit yourself fully, no half-hearted approach to doing any startup. Second, you said was, one person cannot have all the knowledge or the skills. Find other people who can support you. And third one is, don't get carried away by jargon. Thank you so much, Murli, for speaking to me about your own journey, which is so incredible, and I'm sure it has motivated so many different people. Thank you for talking to me about startups. Thank you for talking to me about all the great work that's happening in the world of movies and OTT.
Thanks for having me, sir.
And good luck. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to the Brand Called You videocast and podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the Brand Called You.